Hello and welcome to the video. Just before we start, if you do want to go and listen to the podcast offline, then that's now available to do so. You can go on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts and YouTube. So if you visit our Twitter at SaintsPrime Pod, then they're all available there. You can click on all the links and go straight to it. Also, if you just want to go straight to the tier list for the video, then it starts at 13 minutes 45 seconds. Okay, enjoy. Hello and welcome back to the 8th episode of the SaintsPrime Podcast. It's with me, Ollie.
Harry.
Mikey.
Oh, switching it up. Okay, so today we're doing a tier list maker. If you want to skip straight to that, I'll put a stamp on the video. But first we're going to do some questions and some transfers, little things like that. So hand over to Harry. Can you give us some questions?
The questions, quite a few today, but mostly a lot of them are about Lamina.
Yeah.
So we've got James, Tilly9, Lamina can't be sold. What else have we got? Dan Hurst, is Lamina's Saints version of Pogba? Literally his work rate is terrible and has the potential. So do you agree with that? He's kind of the Southampton version of
Go on, Tiz, give us the stat. What was the stat about Lamina?
I think it's like the fourth most walk percentage at 36 point something percent. He's not got the best work rates when he doesn't want to, if you know. He's either really on his game or does really well, or if he's not interested, he'll just laze about, stand in the middle of the pitch and just pass the ball.
Yeah, I think Pogba's quite a good comparison because really you can see the there's class there that if used in the right way could be amazing, but it's just like, will that happen, or will we give him a whole season it doesn't help and then can't shift him? Do we just get rid now and find someone who fits the system, or do we take that chance of him being world class and sell him off a double that we are looking at the moment? That's the difference.
The thing is, we're looking, I think it's something like £15 million for Lamina, which you think what's his name? Who's the left back from Bournemouth? Tyrone Mings, isn't it? Yeah. He's just gone for 20 million, 25 million.
Yeah.
To Villa, and that seems extortionate. So we've got to be looking at about 30.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think they're saying 15 because that's our money back, and 15 they want at least money back. And the interest there, isn't it? If you look at Alan Blackmore, he said 4 Premier League, was it? Yeah. 4 Premier League.
3 of them names. I think Leicester, Arsenal, and Manchester United are the 3 names. I don't know what the 4th one is. But...
Yeah.
Villa.
They want
or make it double.
They want everyone at the moment.
So I think it's difficult. I hope he'd be a good player for the system, but if he doesn't work out, I think we'd regret it. So, any other opinions on that?
I think that's about it. But we will go more into it when we talk about the Saints tier list and
of course,
how the players work. So, other similar question, James.Rickson. What's happening with Lamina at the moment? It was Lemons, but I'm guessing he means Lamina at the moment. So we've already talked about that. Sedmans.15, do you think Lamina should leave? Gav Wilburn, who would be the breakout star for next season? We talked about that last podcast. If you want to hear our opinions of that. And Mitchell_Wyx or YX. Your opinions on signing a good young player. And he said an example, and Picano, but I just means that sort of young player.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Fine with it. It's as long as if it fits Ralph's system, then that's fine. I think it's centre back, doesn't it? It'll probably be centre back. But if I don't think we really need another centre back unless we do sell Stevens and Hoyt. If we sell both of them, we need another centre back. If we don't sell both of them, then we don't need one. But I want to see Hoyt play because I think Hoyt is a good player, but. He's got a lot from. He's got a lot of abuse from Southampton fans for things that wasn't his fault. Obviously, you've got to discard Fulham and stuff like that because that was his fault. I think there's a good player in him, and if Hasanoush can get it out of him, then you keep him around.
Because the thing is, you can't just get rid straight away. You've got to give it a chance. See if there is something there. If it's not, then it's got to go. But apart from that,
Yeah, he mentioned Mpakano there, but I know he works with him at Leipzig, but I find it unlikely that we'll go for Mpakano because Leipzig have got their new manager, Julian Nagelsmann. So I don't think if he might be part of their plans, especially because he's a good young upcoming prospect, and obviously Leipzig's more of an attractive place to play than Southampton at the moment. Osk.AARR, will we need to replace Lamina or is Romeu good enough?
I think those are 2 quite different players. Romeu breaks up the play. Lamina's a lot more of a creative spark in the midfield. because of the system that we'll be playing, if we do play the 4-2-2-2, then Lamina doesn't fit. Because he's not a defensive midfielder and he's not an attacking midfielder. He's that space in the middle. He's a central midfielder. So I don't think we'll need to replace Lamina in that way. We might have to buy another defensive midfielder just to fill in with what we have. But I don't think Lamina needs replacing in that way.
It should really be what the system always used to be. You've got your class players that are in there at the moment, and either the rotation or the promising should be the youth players being that backup. That should really what our system's always been. And I think us having this massive squad of big name players won't necessarily work. I think we do need to have, and you've got to think as well, we were signing players promising Europa League, and we don't have that same power now in signing players. Like, I know it seems like we're underperforming, but you know, when we're saying to signing Lamina, we're saying, you know, Europa League football, stick on a big sell-on clause and you'll be off to Arsenal in a few years' time. Whereas a relegation battle is really not what those players want. They want that kind of consistency and pushing high.
That's not the promise that they were given when they joined.
That's
the sort of idea. And so, final question of the week came from Southampton News Now. Prime Lambert or Prime Graziano Pella?
Lambert, any day.
Lambert.
Any day. Any day.
I mean,
Pella was great, but Lambert's better.
I mean, you think like Pella, he had rough patches that people kind of forget now, whereas I can't really think of a prime like a point where Lambert dipped in form. He was just constant, you know,
constant throwing.
More clinical nature. You know, obviously, I can't remember a time that I know he would have done, but Graziano Pella probably not as clinical from the spot. You won't have that same amount of confidence, and he wasn't sort of one of those players, Lambert, that did all the flicks and tricks and stuff like that. He just got on with it, scored goals for fun, League One, Championship, Premier League, proved himself in all of them.
3 leagues.
I'd say Lambert. Anything else?
No, I'm pretty happy with that. I think it was pretty solid.
Well, so that's all the questions. Thank you very much for sending in. And now let's go into transfers. We're just going to talk about ins, because for the Southampton squad tier list, that's when we'll talk about the outs as part of what it is. And the only real name that we've been really linked to this past week is Jared Bowen. So what's your kind of thoughts on that one?
He's got a good record. I was having a look at it a couple of days ago, and he looked like he's got a decent amount of goals from his position. I think he had about 46 appearances this campaign, or last season's campaign now. 46 appearances, about at least 20 plus goals in there. You know, like a good goal scorer, especially for his position. And I think he looks a good signing, looks a Saints signing, but we have a surplus in that area at the moment already. So I think it seems a little bit premature to get him in because we haven't got anyone going out the door.
I don't want us to get dragged into when you know how 2 seasons ago we had about 8 central midfielders because we just kept buying them. There was no we got a load through the youth system and then we just kept buying central midfielders. I don't want us to do that with wingers because we've always got Redmond, DeGempo, Ward-Prowse can play there, Josh Sims can do it as well. And if you sign Jared Bowen, then that's 5, and then you've got more through the system like Tyreek Johnson and players like that, and that just doesn't give our youth a chance. Like, it makes sense, the signing. He's a good young player, played well in the Championship. He won't cost too much. I think it was 15 million they were saying. It's about what DeGempo to cost, and it makes sense. But I don't want to get an overload of wingers. And then not let Josh Sims have a go next year. Stuart Armstrong as well. Forgot about him.
Yeah, I think that's about right, to be fair. We're about to go on to the pre-season tour, but because we've taken Elianusi and, you know, Boufal hasn't joined up with the squad yet because he's only like a couple of days ago stopped playing for Morocco. But if we're taking Elianusi, that kind of shows that he's still sort of part of our plans, and we've got to get rid of both of those two, or 2 wingers overall before we bring another one in. Because like you said, otherwise we've got too many wingers. They're not all going to play. They're all going to be on pretty good wages as well if they're coming to a Premier League side. And I think as much as he would be a good signing, we've got to have outs before we have ins for really any position at the moment, because we still have a very, very packed squad.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so is that everything for transfers?
I'm pretty sure. I can't think of anyone else that we've been solidly linked to coming in. No. So do you want to go on to the pre-season tour?
Yeah, sure. So there was a little bit of... would you say controversy? I think it's just a bit
definitely.
of...
yeah. It's hard to say controversy for a pre-season training camp team or squad.
But yeah, there's quite a few. So Stuart Armstrong missing, which apparently is food poisoning. Yeah. Charlie Austin, Mario Lemina, Carrillo, Slattery and Sam Gallagher all out of the 26-man squad travelling. So
along with Harrison Reed, Jake Heskett and Sam McQueen.
Well, there we go.
That's quite...
Yeah,
there's quite a few notable names there.
Yeah, so I think we can probably go down that list. And so Armstrong, like we said, is probably just ill. Yeah. Austin's been linked with a move.
Different teams.
Yeah, Lemina's been linked with a move. Carrillo is just...
He's been linked with Lagana. There's talk of him going back to Pellegrino, going with Pellegrino to Spain. Right, yeah. But we want our money back, basically. I think we want 18 million for him or something like that. And they want him for 6-7 million. Yeah. So we're not going to get our money back, and I think we do have to just cut our losses. Yeah. But I think Carrillo does deserve a chance, but if Hasanutel doesn't want to give him a chance, that's fine.
Slattery, maybe that might be a loan move possibly in the works.
Yeah, but I think there's also, because I think it's Austria-China Island, isn't it? And I think Hasanutel said that he's going to take different players to different places. So Slattery might have missed out on this one. And a lot of these players may have missed out on this one, but they might be going to China, or they might be going to Ireland.
So, for example, Will Smallbone got into this one, for example, but he might not go to the next one, and Slattery might go.
Okay, so do you reckon that's the same with... Reed and Classy, things like that?
I hope it's the same with Reed and Heskett and McQueen. I hope they do get a chance to try and prove himself. I think Gallagher's basically gone now. He's got a £5 million bid from Wigan accepted, and Blackburn want him as well. So he's probably going to go in the end. Yeah. But no, I'd like to see these players get their chance.
Okay, yeah.
Any sort of surprising ins that you're not shocked about, but a bit like, was expecting that because of the players that we didn't take?
Well, the fact we've taken 4 goalkeepers when we want to get rid of 2 of them. That's a little bit straight, but I'm guessing just... it's all about Hasanutel having a look at the players that he's got and then which ones are going to get into the squad and which ones aren't, because he might as well take 4 goalkeepers, have a look, and then decide whether he wants to get rid of McCarthy or Forster. That's true, instead of just taking McCarthy and not taking Forster, and because Forster might still have something in him.
So I saw Dan Nalundalu on the list. Not Mikey's face automatically lights up. I haven't seen much of him. Are you able to give us a scouting report, Mike?
I've seen him once. I mean, this is going to be like... I went to the Newcastle under 23s game, the final game at the end of last year, and he was that player that stood out. Oh, okay. He's incredible. He's quick on the ball, good feet, dangerous in the air as well, because he's got the height on him too, and he's a strong lad, and he looks really good coming through our system.
Where does he play?
Striker.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, because in that game he did score against Newcastle, but the 4 or 5 other ones he didn't score, but he had that presence about him. He had that sort of thing of he's not an easy guy to mark, because like you said, he's good on the ball for quite a presence. He's quick, like you said. He's got everything about him to be promising. He just needs that game time. Yeah, he might struggle to get. We might have to send him out alone, but he's definitely a promising player.
Okay, so this is the tier list that we're going into now. So this will be available if you want to look at it on the YouTube, but we'll do our best to explain it on the podcast if you are listening on the podcast. So basically, we've got 5 sections and the current first team squad available. So I've done this last night. So if you want to do it for yourselves and send it to us, I'll put a link in the Twitter, so just go on there, at SaintsPrime Pod, I think it is. Click the link and it'll take it to yourself. You can do it to yourself. Send us the screenshot, send us your choice of what you liked. But we're going to go through it at the moment. So we've got the 30 first team players, and we split it up into vital, important, promising, underperforming, and sell. So we've got Mikey, get your hands off that. We've got our 30 players. We'll just work one by one through them where we think we are, and we'll come up with an eventual list. And that'll be our list. So first we've got Charlie Austin. It's in random order, but Mikey's immediately grabbing him. Where are we going to go?
Let's have a big guess.
Let's have a good guess. He's gone in sell. I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
He's probably gone.
Yeah.
It's probably the closest to being sold.
Yeah.
His bags are probably packed, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Plenty of options as a striker. He's not very versatile as a striker. He can't do many jobs. Mm-hmm. But for a team like Sheffield United, he'll probably do well.
Getting goals.
Austin's a poacher.
Yeah.
He'll always score goals. He gets in the right positions at the right time. That's even like when we weren't playing well, he was still scoring goals because he is that sort of player.
Yeah.
And it'll be a shame to see him go, but like, what are you doing?
Shut up.
It'll be a shame to see him go, but he deserves first team football. He deserves to be with a club that want him to play first team football.
Yeah.
And a system that fits around him instead of a system that he can't work in.
Yeah,
basically, he doesn't fit the system, doesn't he?
Makes sense.
There we go. So next one, Harry. Was it Elyounoussi?
Mohamed Elyounoussi.
What are we going to go for?
I'd say underperforming.
I'll go underperforming. I don't think we should sell him. He's only had a year.
I think a lot of players pre-season is to try him under Ralph, see how he works. If not, then I think that's up to Ralph to decide whether it's to sell or not. But at the moment, I think underperforming is quite fair.
I think in an interview he said that he wants to be at the club, he wants to prove himself. So I don't think he'll be getting a loan move. I think if he is going to go, he will be sold. Yeah. But I think this season we've got to keep him. We've got to see if he's actually the class that was brought in.
Well, he quite clearly has talent, and that's why we got him. It's just about finding that talent and suiting the league. Because not every player instantly goes, do you know what, I've moved from this league to this league, I can work perfectly seamlessly into this next league.
It took Mane a year to develop,
especially because it's probably one of the most difficult leagues in world football. So you've got to give him a chance.
Okay, next one. So we've got Romeu. So that's obviously quite a different dynamic to what we've had before. Where's your guys' initial thoughts?
It's a difficult one because out of the ones that are there, I don't really think he matches anything. So I don't think he's vital or like important, as in he'll play 30 plus. Like because important seems not irreplaceable, but like he'll play 35 games a season, and obviously he's not promising underperforming or sell. I'll say more of a good squad player for me personally, because I genuinely think that he's a good player, but he's also quite a one-dimensional.
Interesting, you chose a position that's not in the 5 columns. Really,
it
makes it quite difficult. So I'd rule out promising because that's not what he's doing. I wouldn't say he's vital for the squad. I'd say a couple of seasons ago he was vital, but I think it's between important and underperforming.
I would still say he's an important player because he's a player that we don't have another run of. We don't have another breaker up of play. He is like. I know he probably won't play 35 plus games next season, but in a game, if we're winning 1-0 away from home, you throw on Romeu to break up the play.
That's what I mean. He's an important squad player.
So he's important. He's an important player.
We'll use the word important.
So
and
you
pop
used
him in
important.
There.
We're going important.
Yeah, if we get an important squad player, then I like him. Important squad.
Well, the key word important. We'll put him in important.
We'll put him in there. Right.
Yeah, that's lost all meaning in that word now. Sam Gallagher. What do we reckon?
Mikey's jumped straight on the mouse. He'll go sell.
He'll go sell. I wish Gallagher had more of a chance, but I think that's probably down to the way that the club has been run in the last 5 years. That you've got a generation of players that could have been, but just won't.
Just kind of got lost between
It will be Gallagher,
changes.
it will be Reed, McQueen, Heskett. These players who probably should have been given a chance and they just haven't.
So 2 years prior or 2 years in the future, they probably would have got given their chance.
Well, if it was a more stable,
at the wrong time they came through.
The problem was because the club had the ambition of pushing for Europe, it sort of lost its way in the way that we started buying in players instead of bringing you through.
Yeah.
So Gallagher had, because he played quite a few games under Pochettino.
He played quite a few.
He started a lot, and then he just went out of his way, and we just went, you know what, just loan them out, because that'll be the same as playing for us. But
it's definitely not.
That's just not how it works.
Okay, so happy with sell then?
I thought we're probably comfortable in that.
So we got James Ward-Prowse next.
Vital.
Yeah,
vital.
I'd say
definitely.
Hasenhuttl thinks it. I think he says he's going to be a key squad, and physically he's one of the best players he's ever worked with. So I think vital player.
Yeah.
and I think he will be, as long as he stays for the next 5-6 years. To be fair, he's got everything about him that we need.
Okay, I'm happy with that. Mike, are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, next one. Stuart Armstrong.
That's a tough one. Because you're about to say something.
No. I'm thinking, because when he started under Hughes, he was probably one of the only shining lights in the squad.
Yeah.
Armstrong was probably our best player for the first couple of months of the season.
Yeah.
And then Hassan just hasn't used him. I don't know why. He affects games when he's on the pitch.
Yeah.
And he makes a difference. And that's why I'd go important. But he hasn't been as good as he was.
Well, it's difficult because we've seen good performances from him, but he hasn't had that much of a run. So in my head, I'm always thinking that seems kind of promising. Yeah. The promising column for me just kind of seems like young youth players. But if he's had a good spell of games and
he's got a chance of actually producing something.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good point.
We haven't seen the complete potential of Stuart Armstrong because didn't he get an injury halfway through the season and he hasn't really come back in. So I would like to see Armstrong given more of a chance next season, and that's another reason why I don't really want Jarrod Bowen coming in. But will you go promising then?
I'd say
I think that's
a good point because he's shown potential, and hopefully next season, if he gets given the chance, he can show it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So we've got Lamina now. So that's the one we've been talking about him at the start of the podcast.
Yeah.
What's it for you guys? Is it underperforming or is it sell?
I would go. He's probably going to go this window, but I'd want to put him at underperforming because I still think there's still something in him that will make him a good player. I know he won't fit the system, but there's a reason why he's played for Juventus. There's a reason why he's been a Champions League finalist. Yeah. So I would go underperforming, and I want to give him a chance to actually prove himself.
I'm actually happy with that. I was thinking sell, but you kind of the way you kind of said that there is something there, and if it does come through, then you think he could jump up those levels.
I only think so because there's that sort of mutual agreement between the two that they both think it's the right time to move on for both parties. Southampton to move away from Lamina to move away from Southampton. After that interview that he said that they're both quite. He didn't say it exactly, but he sort of said they're both quite comfortable with the decision.
I think Lamina said that if there's an offer to go, he is happy to leave.
Yeah.
But then I don't.
It's not him chomping at the bit to get.
It's not his. It's not like Van Dijk was.
Yeah.
To be fair, what's come out in the media seems fairly just kind of.
He seems quite content with it.
Yeah. He said that he's just going to work to be the best that he can. If he goes, he goes, kind of thing.
I'll put underperforming because I think he hasn't played well, but he has had.
It's a 2 for 1 because if you think underperforming, it's 2 for 1. So might as well go underperforming.
Okay. Right. Next one.
Alex McCarthy, first goalkeeper of the choice. What do you think?
I think it's kind of the Lamina situation. Is it underperforming or is it sell? Because
I think it's either.
I wouldn't say McCarthy was underperforming, but I wouldn't say that we should sell him.
Well, there was a reason why he got moved out for Gunn because he was on a bad, spell of games.
Then also, I think they were waiting to give Gunn a chance. I think if it was just him and Forster, I think he performed at a solid level. But if we bought Gunn for 13 million. They're going to use him at some point, and they're going to want to use him. They're sort of waiting for McCarthy to make that mistake to give him the chance.
I think McCarthy was always consistent. He was never spectacular like the end of last year, but he was never poor.
Yeah.
And I think Gunn came in for the Chelsea game, and he just performed better than McCarthy. I don't think McCarthy was woeful, but I think Gunn played better than McCarthy did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's because he's not promising because we've seen what he can do, and he can be a fantastic goalkeeper. But it's almost like his confidence was shot for some reason because we were conceding so many goals, and that's why Gunn came in and he performed better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd argue that we probably shouldn't sell McCarthy. Underperforming is the wrong bit to put him under, but that's probably the one that lines up the most.
Yeah, I'd say that. It's either that or I'd put him in sell because I think I wouldn't mind having Gunn and Lewis as our two goalkeepers. I just don't know where McCarthy and Forster are going to go. I don't know where Forster's going to go. McCarthy might go Aston Villa, not Liverpool, but he was linked with them in the past. So I'd probably put Sale, but I could see why underperforming is the right fit if we can't find a potential suitor for him.
Let's see. I'm really stuck between those two because I feel like Sale would probably be better for him as well. Because you think if he's got another place where he can prove himself and consolidate, I think he'd have that'd be a much better move for his career than staying at Saints.
The problem is, the thing that's now coming in my head is that if a goalkeeper's not number one, he's underperforming.
Yeah.
And McCarthy will want to be number one somewhere.
And he got given the number one shirt, but then fell out of that place.
McCarthy would want to be number one somewhere. Forster would want to be number one somewhere. So probably both of them are probably Sal.
Yeah.
I think
do you reckon?
You go both Sal. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah. Right. Decent. Next one. Ryan Bertrand. What are your opinions on Ryan Bertrand?
I still go important. He's on.
I think because you kind of think if you just went on just on his performance, you say he probably is a little bit underperforming, but you think that older role model for the club. You know, he was a captain. He's not anymore, but he was a captain. He's an older player in the squad. I think he probably has a lot of experience there, and I think he still does have a good place in the squad. So.
I would put Vital, but I think if Jake Vokin stepped in, if he needed to, if Bertrand was injured, I don't think Southampton's results would dip very quickly. So I think important is the right.
He was vital to the club, and then because of last season and probably the season before where he wasn't as influential, I think that's probably dropped him down to important. Because I don't think he's not had the performances that he did have before.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. Right. Who's next?
Nathan Redmond.
Yeah.
Do we have to say? I don't think we really have to discuss it.
We've gone straight into
a couple of seasons ago, he wasn't anywhere near it. But for some people, not me, some people, he wasn't anywhere near it. But now, key member, of the squad.
Yeah, I think a vital member of the squad.
Yes. You know, top goal scorer last season as well. Yeah, so
2 awards. I think it's pretty important. Really.
When he's on the pitch, we seem to play a lot better as well, and I think that's why.
I think he'll suit the system well for Hasenhüttl. So I think that'd be good. Right, next player.
Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
We're going back to back Vital.
Yeah,
back to back Vital. Wow,
captain.
So he's going to be club captain now because Stephen Davis is gone.
Move him over to there.
Are you going to try and move him? It's not working.
There
you go.
Okay.
Do you think he'll be club captain now?
Yep.
Probably,
yeah.
And hopefully for many years to come as well.
He does just have that. He just has that presence among the squad, that sort of calming nature.
And it's incredible with a player who's 24 now, 23, 24.
Yeah, 23, 24.
He the amount of experience that he's got, like playing for Bayern Munich, and then he's experienced winning leagues and stuff like that, and then battling relegation.
Yeah.
And he's 24.
Yeah.
So he's had an incredible career already, and I hope he pushes on and he finds Southampton as his real home, and hopefully he becomes a legend. Don't I say he already is, but it just increases status.
He's more of a cult at the moment, but he can move up to
if he stays with us for
he can move from the Goody category.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah.
Those are two, but that's another one that we should do.
Yeah,
Past players. And
that'd be good. Yeah, we could do a past player one.
Yeah,
I'll keep that in mind for the next one.
We'll do next week.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So the next one.
No.
Refuse. No. I really hope that didn't get cancelled. I just hope that didn't get picked up on the microphone.
He's making
what's going on? Grumpy Monkeys popped up.
What?
Grumpy Monkeys popped up.
Oh God.
What have you done here?
What have you done?
I've not done anything.
Why did it pop up then?
When you turn the laptop.
It's when I turn the laptop. God, it's just because I wanted to see
the laptop round, and then
it's just because I wanted to see what time we were on, because I didn't want us to go on for ages like last time when we were on for about 50 minutes.
It's fine, don't worry.
Right, nothing happened. We'll pretend like nothing happened.
Right, so
Angus Gunn. We were halfway through Mikey singing that terrible chant, but we'll move on.
Just cut it.
We'll cut that. We'll pretend that never happened.
Yeah.
So Angus Gunn. What do we think about Angus Gunn?
I go important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's...
Because I think he's not one of the... If he was one of the league's best goalkeepers, and if he saved us on multiple occasions... Only on the Chelsea game, I think, did he save one of our games. Possibly the Bournemouth one as well, when he made an important save.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say important, because it's not like he's an irreplaceable member. I like him, but I mean, he's not irreplaceable, if that's the sort of...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like we're quite fickle with our goalkeepers, aren't we? So you got to say, imagine if he had another bad run of games, it could be different. But yeah, I think important is a good choice. Right.
So now I've run of Alfie Jones.
He's already gone.
Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone to Ginny on loan.
Sick, promising man. He's
right.
still young.
Yeah,
he's got potential.
Yeah, well, we can just imagine when he comes back. Then I guess. Yeah.
Jan Bednarek.
It's definitely other important or vital.
Yeah. It's difficult.
I think both Bednarek and Vestergaard should be seen as vital. They're not seen as vital, but they should be seen as vital, because if you look at the stats, you see that Van Dijk's the top centre back, and then the two below them is Jan Bednarek and Yannick Vestergaard. And I don't know if that's because we were just defensively shocking in the first season, so we had to.
Someone's been on who scored way too often.
We had to defend a lot more, so the stats would be higher.
Yeah.
But I think both Bednarek and Vestergaard should be seen as vital players.
That being said, do we want to put them both in vital?
Which one would you? Who do you think is more important, Yannick Vestergaard or Jan Bednarek?
I think Jan Bednarek, because I think he's got more time to develop. Don't know, Vestergaard's a good player. He's not a bad age. I think he's mid-20s, late 20s, but I think Jan Bednarek, because he's quite young and he's already very integral.
We're kind of putting Vestergaard and Bednarek next to each other, but Bednarek is younger. I think that says a lot there, and I think. Actually, to be fair, I think I'd put Bednarek maybe as vital, just because he's got that. If we could try and keep on to him as well, could be a really good one for the future. So. And then maybe Vestergaard might be.
So we'll shift Bednarek into the vital. Do you want to move Vestergaard now? Where do you want to move Vestergaard?
No, we'll talk about that.
We'll get there.
We'll talk about that. Okay, yeah. Josh Sims. Josh Sims is the next player. It's a difficult one. Is Joshua Sims
again? He's promising, because you've seen the performances, like the one against Wolves where he was incredible, the one against Tottenham where he changed the game when he came on. Like, you've seen the promising aspect of Josh Sims, but he still hasn't got there yet.
Yeah,
like if he doesn't, this is going to sound incredibly harsh, but if he doesn't establish himself as a first team player this year, I think we have to let him go.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking earlier when we were looking at this. I was saying Sell, because he's had. It's not like he's been here one season. He's been here quite a few seasons. He's never really established himself. In the home games he does quite well, but the away games he hasn't really done much when playing away from home. We've seen Newcastle, he went missing.
Yeah.
And it's only really those home games that he shows himself to be a high quality asset.
Yeah. Okay. Next player.
Yoshida.
I'd say important.
I'd say important.
Quite for that.
Yeah.
Because some people would say vital because he's an experienced sort of leader in the dressing room, but I don't really see him as a leader, more of an experienced player.
It was at the end of last season when we were playing Stevens, Bednarek, Vestergaard. You could tell that we were missing Yoshida as that covering centre back. I don't know if we become more defensively solid with the two, then Yoshida becomes an important player. If we play in the three, he becomes a vital player, because we don't have a centre back who's quick enough to have. Like, we have to have Yoshida on the pitch if we are playing a three as the covering centre back.
Yeah.
Because no one else is quicker.
Well, then saying that, when you're saying that we don't need another centre back, if we're relying on Yoshida, wouldn't you say we need a replacement for Yoshida?
No, because I think Yoshida can do the backup. He's done the backup before, and I think he can do the backup again, especially if we're in a two.
Yeah.
If we're in a three, then maybe we need a pacier centre back, someone like Marvin Wynn. But
I might do Jamie and bring FIFA and stuff into it.
I think Yoshida's vital in a 3 and he's important in a 2 because I think he always has that like little lapse of concentration.
Yeah,
that's gone away with age, but there's still like something in your mind that there will be something with Yoshida.
Okay, next player,
Harry Lewis.
Still undecided about him because
he hasn't really had his chance.
On his debut against Norwich a few seasons ago, he didn't have a great performance. Yeah, when he was out on loan at Dundee, he was all right. Nothing too special.
Reluctant promising, maybe.
Yeah.
I it's not like we've got players in there that I'm excited to see come through in the promising. I think Harry Lewis is just kind of like
I mean, he's got potential about him, but the 2 games that he's played against, the one against Norwich, he was quite poor, and then didn't he play against Arsenal in the FA Cup and he got slapped 5-1?
He might have done.
And it's all, the 2 games that he has played, they've been against quite difficult opposition with rotated players in front of him. He's sort of just been thrown in. He hasn't had time to establish himself. That's quite hard for a goalkeeper.
Yeah. I think he'll be a bit like Jack Rose, where when his contract runs out, he'll go. He's not a sort of player that you see and think he's going to get a new contract when he's got 1 year left. I like him, but once again, the players we've got in front of him already, because Angus Gunn's still a young goalkeeper.
Yeah,
I don't think he's got much.
It'll be difficult for Lewis to break in.
Yeah.
Definitely. So maybe another loan spell's needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Next player.
Valerie.
Important for me.
Yeah, important.
Really?
Yeah. What do you think? Vital?
I think so, because he's basically turned into our number 1 right back.
True, but it's not
youth prospects. They're able to push out an experienced right back like Cedric.
But I think if Cedric plays, I don't think the results are similar to. I can't remember his name. So similar to one of them that I've said previously. I don't think results will drop drastically if we replace.
You said that about Bertrand.
I don't think results will drop drastically if we take out Van Dijk and Cedric.
From the end of last season, the correlation of back post headed goals has decreased when
exactly.
Played.
And I think we've looked so much better down that right, and you think he's got to be one of the best players towards the end of the season, and not only performance wise but age wise, he's got so many years in him.
In the future, he'll definitely be a vital player, but at the moment, I think it's an important level. If you both think he's vital, then he's vital.
Do you think that we can bring in someone who we can afford that is going to be better than Jan Valery in the role that he plays?
I think they'll be similar enough to have similar statistics. I don't think we need a new right back because I want Valery because I want him to improve and be that vital player. But I do genuinely think if we had Cedric, if we needed to, I don't think results would drop.
Really? Yeah. I think Valery's been one of the youth players, one of the few youth players in a long time that I've been excited about, and I don't want us to halt his progress. I want him to play as long as possible because I think he will just keep coming on and on and on.
Like I said, I don't want him to not play. I just mean I don't think he's vital.
So you think he's not vital because someone else can do his job, and you think he is vital because if we don't play him, then he won't get to his potential?
I just think the amount of talent that he's got in there that he's clearly displayed. I think for our squad, he is vital that we keep onto him to try and release that talent.
That's basically the 2 sides of the argument. Is that someone else can do his job at the moment, and then yours is you should be vital.
But I'm not disagreeing that.
So would you say he's important for the moment but vital in the future?
But we've made other decisions like that, talking about not only now but in the future. Because if you said about Josh, basically our whole promising column, you're saying that in the future, like Harry Lewis is for the future, and I think for Valery, again, he should be higher because not only is he a good performance at the moment, he's got potential to be even better. Whereas if we were just basing it on what we see at the moment, I'd say the whole table needs to change.
I'm either way with this. I don't.
Well,
really
you have to be the mediator. Me and Harry are devil and an angel on your shoulders. You got to make the decision.
Yeah.
I would say Jan Valery's vital. I would say he's vital because he is.
It's close between the two. I'm not saying that was an outrage that you've made that decision. But I'm just saying, I think he
put the knife down to
the I don't have a knife. Yes.
So the next one's Forster. So would you go with that the same as McCarthy in the way that we have to? Well, we probably have to sell one of the two.
I think Forster's probably the lowest ranking out of our three keepers. I think
4.
There we go. Yes,
there is 4.
Yes.
Would you say if one of McCarthy or Forster was going to go, which one would you want to go?
Forster. Just because the wage is making such a dent into.
Well, actually, I look at it. Sorry to interrupt, but I look at it. I think McCarthy and Forster probably have similar wages, and McCarthy's got a higher value a higher sell-on value at the moment. So I'd probably say McCarthy.
I would say McCarthy.
Wait. Sorry, I can get around that logic. So you're saying that McCarthy's worth more because I assume he's a better performer?
Because he plays more regularly.
So why would you choose to keep a player who's not going to get into the first team, choose the worst player on the same wages?
Well, because in McCarthy, in about a year's time, if we don't play him, will drop in value quite significantly. Forster's already kind of hit quite a low point in value, and I think he won't play. It's just in case we need him. As unlikely as it is, I don't think Gunn will get a serious injury. Backup goalkeepers are for that reason backup, whereas McCarthy isn't a backup quality, he's a first team quality.
I would also think that McCarthy thinks he's good enough to be a number 1. Forster's accepted the fact that he's not going to be number 1.
Right.
And Forster's less likely to kick up a fuss than McCarthy is. You think McCarthy signed a new deal at the end of last year, didn't he? And he's probably going to be on a similar rate.
But the thing is, we signed a player in Gunn not to be a player who's going to be happy to be on the bench. We wanted a player who's going to be involved in FA Cup, who's going to be involved in league runs.
Yeah, so Gunn's going to be our number 1 next season. I don't think anyone's arguing that.
No.
We will get more money from McCarthy right now than we would get with Forster. And that money can be used to reinvest into another player, maybe Jared Bowen, maybe into another centre-back.
But then I would not be happy with the selection we've got. So if Gunn gets injured, he's had a hamstring problem before, hasn't he?
I don't know.
I'm getting confused. But yeah, so Gunn sprains his wrist. Then we've got Forster to play all of our league games, or Harry Lewis, who we've talked about that we're not entirely comfortable with. You think he's a backup. He's not just sitting on the bench warming the seat. He is ready to spring into action if anything else happens. And I don't think I'd feel comfortable with Forster in that position.
I don't think Forster's a bad goalkeeper. I just think he's low on confidence. I don't think he's a bad.
But I've seen him. Where was I? West Ham. There was simple mistakes being made. It's not the fact that it's just a drop in confidence. It is vital mistakes that are costing goals.
That then grows with confidence. It's like he's been thrown in there for one game. He played last December. He's played one game.
Yeah, but if you can't play him there, where are you ever going to
play? You could say that about Harry Lewis as well. Harry Lewis has played twice and he's conceded 6 goals in 2 games.
You could probably say that about McCarthy. If he doesn't play for another 6 months, he's not going to have the game time. He'll make those mistakes.
Okay, fine. Well,
so just move on, because
this wasn't even a question. Yeah, this was just something you said. Yeah.
I was like, what have I done this time?
You just brought. You said, "Who would you rather sell, McCarthy?"
You said, "Who would you rather sell?"
No, I said, "Who would you rather sell?"
Right. Okay.
Right.
Let's explain this on Mikey.
Yannick Vestergaard.
Important.
Vital.
2-1. Go on, do it. Put him in important.
The reluctant nature.
I like how we. Oh, look, he's going to put him at the top so he can feel.
I think he's vital.
Let's not start doing that order. Otherwise, we would
have not beaten Tottenham if Yannick Vestergaard's fat head didn't get in the way of that cross. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, right. So who's the next player?
Tyreek Johnson.
Harry, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'd probably say promising. He's shown he can play in a couple of positions when he's played for us. Yeah. He's shown promise both in the under-23s and when he's played for the full team.
So he tried to murder that poor lad in the 8 minutes into his debut. That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right,
shows he cares.
Yeah. Slattery.
Yeah.
Been left out of the 23, but I quite like him. What I've seen of him,
I think it's a similar category. To be honest, once again, he showed his business both in the under 23s and full team, and I think he could be a mainstay in our midfield for years to come.
Shall we get the other 3 youth players out the way and put into promising? That would be Obafemi, Marcus Barnes, Kane Ramsey. The 3 other youth players. Would you all say promising?
Yeah, I'd say so. They've all done. They've done all right when they've taken in. Done well for the 23s. Yeah, that is the second division. So I think.
Okay, so who are we left with?
Jack Stevens is the next one.
I think there's so many variables that come into this. If we get a new centre back, I think he needs to go. But I think if we don't, I think he should be in the underperforming category.
I think he's just underperforming at the moment. But underperforming shouldn't be a bad column. It's just saying that they're not at their best at the moment. You know, it's just like highlighting the fact that all the players that how you move stuff. I think it's just one of those ones. The 3 players there, you think they have all got potential to be in those ones above, but I think it's just at that point, it's just a bit. Yeah. You know, they're not quite there yet. Right. Next one, Shane Long.
I'll just move it anyway.
Oh wow, that was a shock, wasn't it? Going straight to Vital.
I don't think it's one below. One below. I think he's still an important member because he's a good squad player. He causes opposition players problems that other players that we have don't. Yeah. I think he's still an important player.
Yeah,
he'll have the same effect with Aurora Romeo next year. I think he'll be an important squad player because he has the experience, and also he will have an impact off the bench next year. He won't start, but he will have that impact.
Yeah. Okay, right. Next one.
Danny Ings.
I'd say important.
Yeah, because again, he's not. It's a strange one with Ings because when he's. This is going to sound really generic. When he's on form and when he's scoring goals, he's vital to us. But the problem is he'll do that for 3 months and then he'll get injured for 3 months.
Well, he's not scored since about Christmas, January time, so you could put him as underperforming, but I think that's just down to lack of match sharpness. Yeah. And I think with a full pre-season, he could be an important player.
Ings doesn't just bring the goals either; he does bring that creative aspect. Like against Wolves,
he brings other players into play.
He should have had 3 assists and scored himself, but Sims was selfish.
Yeah.
So Ings is an important player, vital when he's at full fitness, and it's the. Two new signings.
Yeah. I've just realised that I haven't put in the players that were on loan last season just because I just thought, I don't know, we didn't really see them last season. You know, you got to see a little bit, but I just thought, let's not be too ambiguous. Let's just, So the 2 new signings, Che and Jean-Paul.
I think both are promising because I can't personally say that they're going to be important or vital to us till we actually see them play in a red and white shirt, to be honest.
I didn't realise.
I
thought we ran out of space.
Maybe Shea Adams are important because he's that striker.
Yeah, because I think
But like I said, we haven't seen.
It makes the column look nicer as well.
We're doing this for aesthetics.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good because I think the amount of times we've been crying out for a new striker. You know, he's been Hasenhuttl wanted him since January. I think that is an important signing and an important player for us.
Any qualms, Mikey?
No.
Nothing?
No, I think that's...
Nothing to us?
Nope.
So should we finish it there? We'll do a little quick roundup of all the players. Harry, do you reckon you can read Vital for us?
Yeah, Vital, Højbjerg, Ward-Prowse, Resman, Bednarek and Jan Valery.
Mikey, can you give us important?
Vestergaard, Romeu, Bertrand, Gunn, Yoshida, Long, Ings, Shea Adams.
I'll give you promising. We've got... wait, did you say... so Armstrong, Alfie Jones, Josh Sims, Harry Lewis, Tyreek Johnson... Slattery, Mikel Obafemi, Barnes, Ramsey and Jepo.
The underperforming players so far are Elianusi, Lamina and Stevens.
And selling is Austin, Gallagher, McCarthy and Forster.
I'm pretty happy with that list.
Yeah, I think that's a good list. So like I said at the start, if you want to send us your lists, then I'll send a tweet out. We'll put this on Twitter so you can see it for yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, send us ours, send us yours even and see what you think. Apart from that, is there anything else, or are you all really happy with that?
Both our players in the African Cup of Nations got knocked out.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I did see Dusan Tadic sign a new contract with Ajax.
That's 7 years.
Yeah, it'll keep him on for a coach as well, which I think is quite nice.
3 years.
And also, 8 minutes ago, Jay Rodriguez has now officially transferred to Burnley.
Well, there we go. That's well, there you go. Jerry Rod has got to move back to Burnley. That's quite nice. Nice little end to the story.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I'm bloody delighted.
Don't say that. But yeah, so that's the end. Thank you very much for listening. As we said, it'll be on YouTube to see this. But if you're on the podcast or anything, thank you for listening. Thanks for the questions on the Instagram, Harry. How can they send in the questions?
Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I'll put it out. Just go on the SaintsPrime Instagram story. Type in anything you want. Doesn't have to be football related. And we will answer almost.
And we love the questions,
anything.
don't we? The questions are really
we answer every single one.
We do.
Every single day. As long as your question is PG.
Yeah, they do. And you'll get your name out. And we do really appreciate the podcast. It's nice. But so Twitter, we're on pretty much every podcasting app.
You check it, we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. You can't get away from us. So it's been me, Ollie,
Mikey,
Harry.
You have to think there for a second.
Yeah,
okay, thanks and goodbye.
It's been a long time since I've been at college.